subscribe, and ring the bell to never miss an update. Creating a beautiful space for meals is easier than you think. Today on Lady Mary Bath, we will take a table from drab to fab and share tips along the way. Join me. An inviting table sets the mood for every event. Whether it's a simple supper or company's coming, it's a great way to showcase your style and interests. And in looking at this plain and mundane table, it's hard to determine my style. We have so many different directions going on here. And before we get into that and how we can improve, I will also share with you the fabulous 4 components of a table. There are 4 basic components to a table setting, and the first and most important being china. And that doesn't mean it has to be bone china. You do want a durable, everyday pattern that is dishwasher safe, that is chip resistant, and can stand the test of time. And then we have glassware. And I suggest a clear tumbler, something very simple, again, easy care, and that way it goes with just about any table setting. And of course, flatware, that's also very important, otherwise we couldn't eat our meal. And there's so many options out there from sterling silver, silver plate, but I suggest a stainless steel, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. And of course, linens, that's where you get to have fun. You can show your personality and style. There's so many ways to acquire linens affordably, whether it's napkins or table runners or overlays. You can shop thrift stores and discount stores as well, and that way you get to showcase your style. Choose a dinnerware pattern that can go from pizza to an elegant dinner. And I think basic white is timeless, especially if space is a premium. I know a lot of viewers have reached out and they can't store 26 dish patterns, and this is definitely a great option. It's like a blank canvas. You could add a salad plate and maybe a charger underneath and create a whole nother look. And I also think you should consider the durability of your dish pattern. So many of us use a pottery for every day. It is not chip resistant, but the vitrified porcelain, which Viller & Bach makes, is so durable it's almost like bone china. It is dishwasher safe. So when choosing a dishware pattern, keep those things in mind. There are so many options with glassware, but if you can only store one, I would suggest go with the clear, that way it blends with everything, and choose a tumbler. This is one that I got at a garage sale, sort of estate sale that I featured on my channel. And my family was really excited because now they didn't have to worry about breakage. And we use a rock sharp crystal. That's what it's called. It's made by Libby Glass from the 1930s. It's etched with beautiful leaves and flowers. We use this every day. It is dishwasher safe, surprisingly, but still my family was really glad to have some regular glasses, as they call them. And a tumbler is a good idea. It works well with most every beverage. It can get a bit confusing, especially with alcoholic drinks. There are so many different shapes and sizes for serving, but this will actually carry you through a soft drink, iced tea, water, and even a beer. So that's one thing to keep in mind. And you could also consider a footed beverage, but I suggest that you make sure it fits in your dishwasher, because if we're using it every day, it should be easy care. Flatware is a very important decision, whether you're replacing something that you have or registering as a bride. And I suggest that you really look at the rating on it. A lot of times you'll see 1810 and you wonder, what does that mean? Well, that is how the stainless steel components are comprised. And that ratio 1810 means that it is 18% chromium and 10% nickel. And that is what you want to look for. And that is not determining the weight, that is the quality and the chemical makeup. And that means with the nickel, it will be more durable and it will be rust resistant and shiny. And if you are lacking that nickel, it will not last you very long and it has more of a soft luster, and you really don't want to waste your money on that. And in looking online, I realized that when they list 1810, that means you're getting the top quality industry standard. But when they don't even list the components, they're hiding it because they don't want you to see that it is not quality. And I can tell you, I go to so many estate sales, and the stainless steel that our mothers and grandmothers had, those still can be used today. It's durable. But the things that you buy at some of those local stores that are not quality, they won't last past college. So that's one thing to keep in mind. This is the stainless that we use every day. It is the Set Fontaine from Villers-Bach, and it's called Kreuzband in Germany. And this is very durable. We've used it for almost 26 years now, and I think it will be around for a very long time. So make some good buying decisions with your flatware. Linens are an easy way to change up the look of your table, and you'll want to have a classic white tablecloth. This one has a bit of a texture, which I like, and you may want to have some white dinner napkins as well, especially for a formal occasion. But for casual and everyday, I think you would enjoy choosing a color or a pattern that pleases you. And the best part is you can add fabric table runners and square overlays. And it doesn't take up much space like a tablecloth would. You could just have your basic white and then have 5 or 6 different table runners. And it takes up about the same space as a t-shirt. So imagine having 5 or 6 table runners in a drawer, and so easy to just switch out and change up your look. And in acquiring linens, you can find them at resale shops, thrift stores, even Goodwill. And of course, you could shop at World Market, one of my favorite places for table runners, and so many different options. And I also find some neat ones on Etsy. I just ordered custom chinoiserie table runners for my big birthday. So that's something that will showcase your style. The first step to starting a table setting is to find something that inspires you, and that can be many things. Perhaps a beautiful patterned tablecloth, vintage plates, flowers, colors, or a season. And I like to plan for my guests. If I am honoring some friends who are about to embark on an overseas tour, or perhaps some graduates who have the world at their fingertips, I might consider a table runner that has the world map. I might pull some globes from my home, something that signifies that important event in their lives, and it makes them feel honored. So again, whether it's a very simple supper for your family or inviting guests for an occasion, find something that inspires you, and everyone will feel the love. In a formal setting, you could add place cards, flowers, and sterling candelabras. The sky is the limit. Another way to create a unique table setting is to find things on your travels. And whether your trips take you around town or around the world, you'd be amazed at how you can find a unique piece to place on the table that becomes a focal point. Perhaps a stunning silver dish or a vintage glass piece. Let's take a closer look at this plain and mundane table and maybe what is not working here. First of all, colors. I think color is so important and can really set the tone for your table. These colors sort of go together. These were my mother's napkins from the 1970s. Here we've got a green Swiss dot and a lemon yellow polka dot. I don't think they look fabulous together. They could possibly pass except for our water pitcher. That is from the 1960s, and the colors just don't look great with the 70s. What else can I say? And another thing to consider is scale. You'll notice that these candle holders in center really don't stand out too much. And I think if we went big and bold, it would certainly look a lot better. And styles should blend. And here we have the mid-century modern, and that doesn't really go with the 70s. And the candle holders have a modern vibe, and I really don't like the look of that with the dinner plates. It just really can't figure itself out here. And another thing is layering. Here we have a very flat table. We could have easily added a table runner or a fabric overlay. We could build up the plates. There's so many ways to do that and bring the eye up. And here we just have not achieved it. And then of course there's no focal point. Without a centerpiece or something to focus on, not only are we lacking in style, but it's just rather boring. And I think it's time to go to the fab table now. I've had enough of the drab. Color is important, and it also gives us direction for how we're building the table. The inspiration for this setting is a World Market blue batik table runner. It has a very cool vibe. It's actually reversible. On the back side, it's more of a cobalt blue, which would also work for this setting. And classic blue was the Pantone color of the year for 2020. And for me, it's pretty much my color of the year every year. I think it is the perfect shade. And I will show you how I've incorporated the blue into other table essentials. Colors should be complementary, and since classic blue is our main color today, I've paired it with shades of white and natural to have a very relaxed look for our table. And an interesting decorative element that I pulled from my upstairs den is this endless circles glass object. And I think it adds a very nice look to it. It doesn't look like something that was made for the table. It's not a serving item, but it does add some interest. And I have a companion piece that I have at the other end of the table that I found recently at the Painted Tree Boutiques in Franklin, Tennessee from the Glass Sparrow booth. And I'm so pleased to have it. I hand carried it back on the airplane, so you know I really did want that. And these cobalt glasses are so nice. I found these at the Guild Shop years ago, and I like that it has the clear glass and the cobalt base and adds some interest to the table. I had been looking for more of these for years, and I finally found some at the antique galleries recently, and I was so happy to find them. There were only 3 of them, and I think they were just waiting to come home with me. And in the place setting, you will see some more of these colors carried out. We have a natural woven placemat, a blue Billrainbach Verona charger, and then in our napkin that is placed on top of our white dinner plate, we have the Ecot design, which is one of my favorite styles, and 2 different shades of blue against the white. And then of course we need a serving pitcher for the table, so I pulled this Mexican hand-blown glass cobalt rimmed pitcher. And this was a garage sale find for I think $3. It is quite the deal, and it goes very well with our table. And you will see the candlesticks. I have an ivory color here. I didn't want to compete with too much blue, just wanted to simply complement the colors. And in the centerpiece, we have different shades of blue along with ivory. And you see how important color is and how well these go together. Size is everything. You'll remember that in the drab table, we had these Mariposa Sueño candlesticks, and they were sort of lost at sea. So I paired them with a taller version of the Sueño pattern and separated them so that they have their own story on each end of the table. And for the centerpiece, I have placed an oversized bouquet vase. This was a $5 garage sale find, originally from Frost Brothers, which is a boutique department store when I was growing up, similar to Neiman Marcus, just much smaller. And the lady had purchased this when she worked for Frost Brothers and just over time didn't have the storage space. So I'm glad to feature this, and I've elevated it by adding these dried flowers, and that creates a focal point, which we will talk about in a bit. And in the place setting, you'll see that not only do I have layers, but also visually it is bigger and bolder with the placemat and the glass charger. So it's very important to consider size and scale when you're setting the table. Find your style and make sure that everything works well together and that it is cohesive. And you can certainly mix different eras together. It doesn't all have to be something brand new, but I like how patterns and sheens can really enhance your table. And you'll see in these napkins from Southern Living for Dillard's, it is an ikat pattern, and that is an Indonesian word which means to bind. And it is a resist dyeing process where threads are tied to avoid the dye on the fabric, and it creates this interesting pattern. And in the Batik Table Runner, you see the same process. And these coordinate very well together. And you will notice some different textures on the table. I have added some of the metal, the Mariposa candle holders, and a nice sheen with this decorative accent endless circles. And of course, with the glasses, I didn't go with a heavy cut crystal, even though I have plenty of that. I wanted it to be a very accessible and a relaxing look. And with the addition of our dried flowers, that adds a touch of nature. So make sure to find your style and make sure that everything blends well together. Layering adds interest to your table and is visually pleasing. The easiest way to do that is to add a table runner or a fabric overlay, and that actually sets the tone for your table as well. And for the place setting, I have quite a few layers that raise it up, make it more interesting with the height, and it serves a purpose. This is a naturally woven placemat. I got a set of 4 of these at World Market, and I have plans for these. That would look good with a seascape table as well. And then topping that with my favorite glass charger, the Verona from Villard & Bach. And this has a dual purpose. Not only is it pretty, but it's practical because it helps you avoid food spills on your tablecloth. And topping that with the Cellini Classic White dinner plate from Villard & Bach. And we could even have more fun with this and add a soup bowl or a sherbet dish for a shrimp cocktail or a salad plate, but I'm keeping it very simple with just a dinner plate today. And then our ikat napkin. And you see how layering brings the eye up and makes for quite a nice look for your table. Add interest and a focal point. Even with the napkin, I wanted to create the unexpected. Instead of a clever napkin fold or a lovely napkin ring, instead I have folded these napkins lengthwise, and I've brought it together and tied it in a knot. And it creates quite an interesting look for your table, and it fits with the casual vibe as well. And for the centerpiece, you've seen this Frost Brothers oversized bouquet vase that I introduced, but I want to tell you more about how I put this together. I went to Hobby Lobby and got a bag of these natural elements and some dried flowers. And what I did is I placed them inside this vase. It has a lovely pinstripe, but it is clear so you can see through it. There are different textures inside, and it is the unexpected. It's not a dozen roses or a formal floral arrangement. And I've actually used one of these as a flower frog to anchor the dried flowers. And I've tried to add lots of blue here since we do have more of the natural colors and some of the curly willow. You'll see the different textures, and it definitely goes with the style of our table, and it brings the eye up and is a focal point for the table, and it will have your guests admiring it throughout dinner. Symmetry is important when setting a table, and it actually makes it easier on you because it is sort of a pattern or grid that you follow. Normally you have the centerpiece right in the middle of the table, and in this case it adds a lot of height. And on either side, you'll notice it's sort of a mirrored image where I have both size candlesticks, I have the same number of natural elements, and then the glass Endless Circles design touch. So this actually is a very straightforward table, but I've been very careful to make it balanced. And you could certainly have an offset centerpiece. I've done that before with a tray, and maybe the florals are on one side of the tray and I have some other items featured, and it still has a nice look to it because the tray is centered. And I think that is so important. And also with the place setting. Here we have a table for 4, but if we had a 5th person, I would place another place setting at the head of the table and definitely not have 3 on one side, 2 on the other, because that off balance somehow just disrupts the flow of your setting. So keep that in mind and just follow a pattern and repeat on each side and have a very cohesive look. An interesting tablescape elevates the dining experience. I hope that you enjoyed these tips on how I approach setting a table. And remember, as I always say, shop your home for design elements and then shop your local thrift store or resale shop. That's what I did for my wardrobe today. This Lily Pulitzer dress is from Mam Resale, and I didn't have to spend $350. I got it for $25. And that's always a good idea, whether you are looking for your wardrobe or table essentials. Thanks again for joining Lady Mary Bath. Elevate your everyday with beautiful table settings. Thanks for joining Lady Mary Bath. Please hit like and subscribe. I hope to see you next time for more lifestyle tips.